How many bones do sharks have in their bodies?
131.
The answer is none.
Which is cartilage.
Yeah.
It's a trick question.
I guess it's a trick question. See,
Yes.
I was curious because I'm like, you I guess maybe grew up with more shark facts than I did, as they are around you.
They were and they weren't.
Okay.
I never saw a shark in the water.
Okay.
And yeah, I did eat shark once.
How was it? Did it noticeably better? Okay.
It's like
whatever.
it's like a fish that tastes a bit like chicken. It's not that good.
Gotcha.
It's like worse than fish and also worse than chicken. So there's no reason
Did you see
to ever eat it.
There's this shark tracking app where people are able to track sharks. And they have like names for the sharks, like Bobby and like Tony and
Yeah.
and there was recently someone found the mapped out track of one of these sharks, and it made a shark outline. And they're like, this shark.
It's not a hoax?
No,
real?
it's a real tracking. They're like, this is fascinating. This shark. It's just crazy how I didn't know how far sharks went. Like they go all the way up, past. They go like Nova Scotia all the way down to Florida. They get around.
Yeah, well-traveled animals.
Yeah, just like you.
Just like me. I'm like a shark. That's what I've always said to people. What animal describes you? I say a shark.
Yeah, don't mess with Jeff. He'll kill you.
Wait, are you standing right now?
I'm not standing. No.
Oh, because I am standing.
You are standing. I could kind of tell. Yeah, you seemed like a guy that was standing.
I am, if you've noticed from the thing that says like maple products and there's like a moose. I'm in Vermont right now.
Yeah. Because you've had to evacuate the state of Florida.
Yeah, so kind of. So
run it down.
Already...
I know as much as the fans, to be honest. I'm very out of touch with what you're
right. Yeah, because whenever I text you, Karsten responds, "Don't talk to me, loser."
Yeah.
So he doesn't know what's happening.
No, I literally say that. Yeah.
Yeah, he does. It's actually quite mean. So what happened was, there was a big hurricane that was supposed to directly hit my parents' house. And I was going to go with them to Vermont anyways.
Yeah.
So what we did was we just moved that trip forward by like 4 days.
Nice. So it wasn't that like scary. It was just kind of like, well, we were going to go.
Yeah, well, the scary part was that, there was supposed to be like catastrophic damage, which there was to parts of Florida, but it hit south of where it was projected to hit when we left. So it ended up not really doing anything to my parents' house.
Okay.
And then obviously doing, like, if you've seen the pictures, it's pretty bad.
Yeah.
So it's not great, but, it's a pretty big issue in Florida, but we won't get into that. You can, I'm sure, Google that. It's not the most happy thing.
No, I mean,
that's talk about. This is like a happy podcast. And RC Karsten, I'm like, look at that guy. That guy's happy.
Yep. And very laggy for that one sentence specifically.
Yeah.
But we're back.
Yep. Because I am in the mountains, which is the internet's not good here. But I've been like apple picking.
Oh, nice.
Hiking.
Nice. That's funny because I went to Apple Fest today, so we're both kind of in our apple.
Yeah, but like, did you pick the apples off the tree?
I didn't pick them off the tree. No.
Yeah, so you're kind of like a imposter.
I'm a fake apple enthusiast. Yeah, I really.
Yeah. You got to come out to Vermont and pick them off the tree.
This guy likes Apple so much, he's got Apple ear products in his ears. So
and my Apple laptop.
Yeah. Really showing me up.
You just have a blue mic stand.
That's it. Yeah. Nothing
You're
special.
just a fan of blue.
Yeah, I will say, if anyone is near Chicago or in Chicago, you should hit up Apple Fest. It's over now, so you're going to have to wait for next year. But
So wait a minute. But if you're anyone near Vermont,
yep.
you can go apple picking.
Get out there, yeah. Man,
get out there. I mean, you have to don't just like go to an orchard and start picking the apples because they like charge you a little bit of money and then you have like a bag that you can fit as many as you want into the bag. Yeah. Don't just steal apples. I'm not telling you to steal apples. Just to be very clear.
They'll send you to prison, and then
I mean, probably not. They'll probably just yell at you and be like, "Come on,
come on, man." Yeah.
Yeah.
It must be beautiful there in the fall. Nice autumnal time to be in Vermont. You like
what word did you use?
Autumnal. Isn't that's a word? Autumnal?
I feel like it is. It's just an awkward word to say.
Weird way. Yeah, it was not the sentence to use it in. I'll say that. But I bet Vermont is looking very autumnal. That's a more proper way of...
Yeah, a lot of, leaves are starting to change colors here.
Yeah.
There's some mountains, a lot of trees, and some rocks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Nice.
So that's cool. How has your week been, though? I mean, you went to Apple Fest.
I went to Apple Fest. I went to see Blonde, which was not the movie today, but hopefully will not be the movie anytime soon. I don't think we should talk about that movie.
Can I get your very quick thoughts on it? Because it looked interesting, I'll say.
It's pretty bad. Blonde is pretty bad. It's kind of a big mess, and it's incredibly disrespectful. It's just like not hilariously, that's the wrong word, but just not good. And I got a video on that coming, so we'll just keep the Blonde stuff out of this podcast. But yeah, I guess I did that. Not a ton. Yeah.
I didn't mention this, but we drove up from Florida, which is a very long drive.
Yes, that is Vermont. So, the entirety of the country, really. That's
north to south, yeah.
Yeah.
Not east to west, because if we drove to like Seattle, that'd be
a different
nightmare.
Story.
That would be like 40 something hours, I think, of driving.
Yeah.
This, I think, grand total was probably like 24.
Still pretty decent though.
Yeah, and also there was like a dog in the car too, so
yeah.
The dog was just barking a lot, and then you'd be like, "Fine, we'll let you out to pee."
That's how it is.
And then
I say we get into the movie today.
I say we get into the movie too because that was getting really rough. I was talking about a dog barking in a car.
Gotta let the dog out. 24 hours.
Yeah. Just really Blonde. We went to TIFF.
We don't have much to talk about this week, but we do have a movie.
We do have a movie that we saw at TIFF. You paid money because we saw the world premiere. The world premiere. You sat in the last row, which means technically,
yes.
If you're talking about like nanoseconds, you saw it last of everyone in the theater for the world premiere. The light reached you last.
Yep.
So honestly, it's really like you weren't even at the premiere.
I was barely.
You saw it so much later than I did. Yeah.
Yeah, they barely let me in. Everyone was laughing a little bit too early for me. I was like, wait,
you were like, all the jokes are ruined.
What's the funny part? Wait, that's the funny part. Yeah. And I actually just coincidentally saw this movie like 2 hours ago today. I rewatched it.
So you're going to show me up with how much you remember it.
Yeah, I'm extra prepared. And I sat pretty near the screen this time. Okay. So different.
So you were the one laughing early this time.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's how this works.
Yes. Just now we'll get into it. And I will say, early indicator of how we feel about the film. You saw it twice.
I did see it twice. Yes.
So it is a very, I will say, rewatchable film.
Absolutely. And that is, it kind of proved a lot of points that I had on this rewatch. I'm like, yep, still good. So
all right, let's hear your little thing you do.
So this is a movie. That's what I do.
It's a movie.
This is a new rom-com, big blockbuster rom-com, directed by Nicholas Stoller, produced by Judd Apatow, and written and starring Billy Eichner. And the synopsis reads, Bobby is a neurotic podcast host, look at that, who's happy to go on Tinder dates and content not to have a serious... Oh, wait, okay. Let me reread this because I didn't know what this... Bobby is a neurotic podcast host who's happy to go on Tinder dates and content not to have a serious relationship. That all changes when he meets Aaron, an equally detached lawyer who likes to play the field. Repeatedly drawn to each other, both men begin to show their vulnerable sides as their undeniable attraction turns into something resembling a commitment. That is a very wordy synopsis for a pretty simple movie at the end of the day. I think Letterboxd is like one line, and it's just two men with commitment issues attempt a relationship, and that's all you need to know. That's all you need to know. But you get a bang for your buck.
Yeah, bang for your buck. Imagine if you had to pay for that synopsis that you read every week. We're like, all the Patreon money that's going right into the synopsis
right
fund.
into these synopses that because we can't figure it out ourselves. So that's the film. Now this has been honestly on my mind up until the release because it is a big budget blockbuster that is pitching itself as being like this big crowd pleasy movie, as like a return to like the blockbuster rom-com. And I've really been curious about how this thing would do at the box office.
I was about to bring up that exact point, Karsten.
Yes.
You're so simpatico. Let's hear
there we
it.
go. It promoted as the first gay romantic. This is from the New York Times. Promoted as the first gay romantic comedy from a major studio. Bros sold 4.8 million in tickets, about 40% less than expected, which is not good numbers.
That's not good. Now, do you think, as was noted by the Oscar expert, on Twitter, that the poster has anything to do with that? Do you think that the poster is dissuading people? From like people who just like kind of show up to the theater and like, what am I going to watch? The fact that the poster is just kind of like there's no faces on it.
Interesting. First of all, I didn't see this tweet. That's an interesting point. I personally really like the poster. Like, I think it's clever and simple, and it follows this like. This is going to sound ridiculous. It follows like this McDonald's color theory that like red and yellow together are very appealing to people. And I'm like, there's this movie. I knew this would sound ridiculous. I'm just like, for some reason, the colors of this film, in that poster at least, just they pop and you're like, oh, that looks like something fun that I want to see because it's red and yellow.
Now,
and that's
a counterpoint to the theory you just proposed. It sold 40% less than expected.
Yes, so clearly that's not really the case.
I do kind of see where people, because a lot of people, I don't know the exact amount, obviously, it's hard to quantify this.
Yes.
They show up to a theater without an explicit film that they're like set on watching. I think there are people that do that.
Yeah.
Or there are people that are there to see a film and then they'll see what else is playing, or they'll look at the other posters and plan what they want to see next. And I really think that the poster is good after you've seen the film, but that's not the point of a poster, right? Like once you see the film, you're like, that's a clever poster.
Yeah.
But I just feel like if you don't know that much about the film, you're like, who's even in this? If you just look at the poster.
Yeah. Well, and that's another factor, and I think why it's kind of underperforming is that the top billed cast in the film. I mean, Billy Eichner has like Billy on the Street, which is like, you know, it's viral. It's like a big internet thing. Like it's had plenty of success, but he's not like, I would not consider Billy Eichner. No, I would not consider him A-list. The other guy, Luke McFarlane, who's great in the film, but he is even lesser known. Like it really, it is cool, and it's like this is all film quality aside, like it's a great movie, but it is like kind of not the most famous cast, which is I get would be a hard draw for a lot of people.
I think that's actually a tremendous point. I think this film would have performed much better if they managed to get Julia Roberts in the film.
Yes. Well, I was thinking Ryan Reynolds.
No, I think Julia Roberts.
Okay.
Just based on that's like the rom-com person.
Okay. Yeah. What was I going to say? Oh, also we're kind of beating around the bush. I think a big part of its lack of success is a lot of middle America kind of boycotting this film. There's a lot of like weird homophobia surrounding it that existed before the film even came out. Like I remember when the first trailer dropped, even people that really liked the movie were like, not not the best trailer. I personally did not mind. I was like, I think it looks fun. But a lot of people, this film is very in your face, unapologetically gay and LGBTQ, and like because of that, I think a lot of people are just really turned off by it, especially.
Yeah,
I don't know, amidst the success of something like Top Gun, which is great. I really love Top Gun, but it does. There's been a lot of people online that have been like, this is what a good blockbuster movie, like we need more of like the traditional like straight action comedy, or not comedy, but like just like this kind of traditional way of looking at it. And they see something like this that is the complete opposite, really. And I don't know. It's just, it was not the thing that got a lot of the middle of America excited.
And, just the way capitalism works, there's a reason why this is the first major studio, gay rom-com. Mm-hmm. It's because it's not something that historically would have been easy to sell.
Yeah. And it has been like hard for them. The promo for this film has been out of like crazy. Like I see it everywhere and they're really pushing it, and it sucks that the film is not doing well. I'm hoping, maybe like a word of mouth thing, or like once it drops on streamers or something. But
once this podcast comes out,
things are gonna boom. Yeah, that's so true. Yeah.
And for the record, Karsten was joking. That is not true at all. If anything, we might hurt the.
We could hurt it. Sales. We could hurt it. Yeah. But yeah, that's all that aside. What is weird though is that when I saw it today, I saw it in a packed theater at 4 p.m., which is not. I guess it's a Sunday, but it was a packed theater of people like howling, just like they were at TIFF, which was surprising. I was kind of like, I don't know if it's going to be able to live up to that world premiere screening, and still doesn't, even though I got a better seat, but it's still like very like good crowd pleasing time.
And the reason for that is pretty obvious, that it's because you're in Chicago.
That is true. Yep.
I think that it's probably not having any issues in the major cities.
No.
But in like Cedar Rapids or something, it might be a tougher. I just threw them right under the bus.
Yeah. Well,
I was sorry for anyone living in Cedar Rapids, Iowa.
I got cousins in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. I've been there many times.
Have they seen the film?
They have definitely not. I've not asked them, but I know for a fact they haven't seen this movie.
I'm
more curious. I'm like, what's the thing is, it's not like this is like some of the movies we've talked about on here where it probably isn't playing in Clearwater, Florida, but this is probably playing in Clearwater.
This is playing everywhere.
Yeah, that's what sucks, is it's everywhere and not a lot of seats. But anyway, the film itself.
This podcast is a disaster.
Yeah. What did you think of the movie, Jeff?
I liked it a lot. I mean, as a rom-com, it is a resounding success.
Yes, it delivers in both the rom and the com. I think we can agree on that for sure.
Yeah.
And I don't know, it's just like, it's, especially on a rewatch, I think I thought it was more, I thought it was funnier than it was romantic the first time I saw it. Like, I didn't know if I really felt the chemistry, but the second time around, I got a little bit more of that. And I was like, no, I think it kind of hits it out of the park in both sides.
Now, one qualm we both had upon seeing it the first time was the length, the notorious Judd Apatow length.
Yeah. Yep. I'll say on the second watch, you still feel it. It is such a meaty movie. And honestly, I don't know if it's fully like that you need to cut scenes out entirely. I think the scenes themselves just need to be shorter, because they really like just let them go loose with these conversations. And like, it's kind of like the Judd Apatow, like improv comedy thing. And I'm like, a lot of it's funny, which, but.
Yeah. Now, how would you feel if they just sped up the entire film about 1.2 times?
I think that would
the runtime would be shorter.
It would be shorter.
It might mess up the comedic timing for some of the jokes.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, like, Billy Eichner already talks very quickly and just nonstop. So, like, it would just be kind of exhausting.
Yeah. I mean, they sell Blu-rays and stuff specifically of altered versions of films. Like, there's a Johnny Mnemonic black and white edition.
Yep.
So what if they just did Bros 1.2 times speed edition?
Bros would be the most random movie too if they were like Bros in black and white. And we're like, okay, no one really needed that, but sure.
Now, I've always been curious when they do the black and white editions how different the experience is, and if you just set the contrast or whatever, or saturation, on your TV to like 0.
Yeah.
Like, why don't you just buy the normal one and set your saturation to 0?
Demi from the Karstcast alum and from Letterboxd.
Yeah, Demi Adejuibe.
Yes, I think it might have been him that posted on his Instagram story once that him and his friends bought the Ratatouille Blu-ray and made it black and white, did French audio and English subtitles to make it seem like an old French New Wave film.
That's pretty funny.
So we could do that with Bros too.
We could.
Bros in French. Yeah. What was I going to say? Oh, so yeah, it definitely needs to be cut down. Just because I honestly think that could do something to the success of the film, because it's just such a meaty movie and it's like such a time commitment. Not that I'm complaining. I would prefer it's shorter. I have no problem with long movies, but it is a commitment.
That happens.
Yeah.
Long films you never get around to. Like Heat, when I went on that other person's people's podcast and pretended that I saw the end of it. When I literally, after an hour and a half, I'm like, I don't have time for this. It's like, I'm only halfway through.
Yeah. And let me just say another thing about Blonde. It's nearly 3 hours long, and that's one of the worst parts about it.
Really?
Yeah, it's really bad. But yeah,
you probably watched Some Like It Hot 3 times.
I know. I've never seen Some Like It Hot, and the movie references it so many times.
Oh, it's good.
Yeah. Okay, you've seen it.
It's a Florida film. They make us watch it.
Wow. Anyway, I really like this. Another issue I have with this is that, and I'm not going to spoil, but the last 20 minutes of the film kind of just do whatever it feels like doing and forgets about how, because I think for the most part it's a really well structured out film. Pacing maybe not, but I'm like, okay, yeah, this hits the right beats for this relationship, but the last 20 minutes of this film are just kind of what you could cut all of it. And I don't know, it gets a little too sappy for me.
Yeah, I kind of agree. It felt like they were really trying hard to wrap up the film in a very conventional way, when I think you could just let the audience assume that was going to happen.
Right. There's I'm looking at a lot of, that is the thing, is you look at a lot of classic rom-coms like Harry Met Sally, and it's you get in a tight 90 minutes. That's what a rom-com should be, and we all know where it's going, but I don't know. It just has a lot of moments that are this celebrity.
And Hugh Grant is in it, and he just looks kind of like a doofus.
Yep.
He's doofus, absent-minded.
We all
he's
like
kind of hot.
Yeah. He definitely is the king of rom-coms, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And Julia Roberts.
That's why Notting Hill is the #1 rom-com.
Yeah.
Both of them are in it. Tom Hanks, tried to be a rom-com guy.
He's not a rom-com guy.
He's not a rom-com guy.
I just watched Catch Me If You Can and I don't really remember it from a kid, but it kind of felt like the first time. And Tom Hanks is so goofy in that movie.
Yeah.
Also, it's crazy that that's based on a real guy.
Oh yeah, that movie. I love that movie.
It's a crazy movie. It's so fun. But that's not what we're talking about today.
No, we're talking about Bros, the spiritual successor.
Yeah. I really like Billy Eichner. I think he's probably the best performance here. He just is able to carry it. I think he's way more dramatic than I expected him to be. He can do the dramatic scenes really well. Like we said, I guess Luke McFarlane, he's pretty good. He definitely is the perfect guy for this movie. I thought a little bit more about it. I'm like, I wonder if I could see this guy in like a different film, and it's hard to see if like, I don't know, he works outside of the rom-com genre, but who's to say? Yeah, I mean, performance-wise, it's really great. Everybody seems like they're on the same page and blah blah blah. Yeah, I mean, I'm just glad the film exists, I guess. It feels, we've talked about Fire Island, which, you know, we're going to compare them regardless, and we kind of talk about this in our TIFF episode, but like I just think this is like such a great return to like a big budget rom-com that you can throw on any time and has enough jokes to like make it rewatchable in that way. Because Fire Island, I don't think I remember any of the jokes in it, which I think is an issue this film doesn't have, is there's so many quotables. Which is just an essential piece to making a good rom-com is, Yeah,
I mean, that's the thing. At the end of the day, it's just a really good rom-com. I mean, obviously, it's important to have, you know, the representation elements of it. And the fact that society is finally getting to a place where I mean, obviously, it's not doing that well at the box office, but we're getting there. It's just, it's fundamentally a very enjoyable rom-com.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And there's a bit of like optimism in me that I'm like, I think it will slowly catch on and become like a sleeper hit. Because I'm like, anybody who sees the film, I haven't actually seen anybody that's watched it that has strongly disliked it. I've seen some people that are like lukewarm about it, but I'm like, it's pretty undeniably fun. Like it's hard to deny that it's a well-made, like pretty funny movie. And I don't know, the more people that see it, I'm sure it'll like kind of do word of mouth. And yeah.
Which film between this and Fire Island did you like more?
This one. I mean, Fire Island has a lot of things I like about it. I think Fire Island looks a bit better. Like, I think it was shot on film, which is random, but I thought it looked really nice. And I think it goes to like, I don't know, more interesting places than this, because this is a very by the books, like you can kind of see where it's going, but it's the unique humor that makes it worth watching. But I think I like this one at the end of the day a little bit more, just because it's one that I can see myself revisiting. I think it's a lot funnier. What about you?
I don't know. I mean, for me, they're pretty comparable. I mean, Fire Island's a little more of a brisk watch, and it kind of jumps around on this island, which is just aesthetically a fun thing to watch. Where this is definitely more of like a dialogue driven film.
That is very true.
But I mean, they're both good though.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a good year for rom-coms, even if nobody is watching these movies. I don't know, there's not a ton else to say. I think a lot of what there was to add to this that we didn't say in our TIFF video had to do with the film's performance, and which
we didn't know about the performance yet because we were at the world premiere.
Yeah, but
so we're like, well, I think it's sold out. It's only showing.
Yeah. But yeah, all I can say is like, if you were on the fence about seeing it, I definitely think it's worth watching. Like, truly, actually, when you look at what else is out this weekend between this and Don't Worry, Darling, even Pearl and fucking Blonde, I'm like, this is clearly the winner for me. I mean, this is really fantastic, and I don't know.
And if you're someone who's on the fence and you have enjoyed a Judd Apatow film, just the way those films are structured, you'll like this.
Yeah. If you like a movie that's way too long, then
if you like a comedy that's a long comedy, a long comedy, it doesn't work. It sounded like it should work.
Yeah.
To combine the words, it does not.
Definitely does not work
at all.
Go see Bros, because it's very funny. And
can you combine your name, like Karsten-runquist, Karquist?
So I've done this in the past, and it sounds, if you took the first letter of my first name and then took out the first letter of my last name and combined those two together, it sounds like a bad word.
Conquest?
And I don't. Yeah, I don't know why. I don't like.
Yeah, I mean, mine
like
is
where
if you
it's
combine
going.
it, it's like Jeff Slow, which it just doesn't. It just sounds like
Joris Slow. Yeah.
Yeah, if you do like one letter and then
I'm glad you have it's Boris Slow and not just Boris. I think that's a way. Just Boris is a pretty bad last name.
Wow,
I'm
that's it's kind of offensive,
no.
honestly.
What do you mean? I'm gonna be thinking about that. All right. Well, Bros is out now. You heard it here first. One of many TIFF movies that we'll probably be talking about more as they come out. I think it's the only one that's come out besides Pearl, and you didn't see Pearl, so
I didn't see Pearl.
I'm just tired of talking about those movies all over.
Just to briefly talk about TIFF again. I looked at all of the like award nominees and winners, and I pretty much didn't see any of them.
Oh,
there was like two that I saw from TIFF. I saw Weird, which was like the winner of the Midnight Madness, which is like the least prestigious award they have.
Right,
because it's just films they happen to play at midnight that are completely arbitrary.
Yeah.
Like, what even is that? Why is there an award for that?
I know. Well, that one's funny because usually the Midnight Madness, I think, is reserved for like horror movies because that's the time.
Yeah.
But the winner this year was Weird, which is just the Weird Al movie. Which, yeah, you didn't see The Fabelmans, which was...
I didn't see Decision to Leave, which...
Did that win?
That was... I think that won something.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah, but because I remember I read through like the TIFF award winners, and I saw like Weird, and that was it, I think.
Yeah. Interesting.
I didn't see The Fabelmans. I didn't see, The Whale.
Mm-hmm.
Did I even go to TIFF? I didn't see anything.
You saw the good stuff.
I saw
Bros.
The Blackening.
Yeah,
I saw Bros. I saw
Glass
Brother
Onion.
right before Bros.
Yeah.
I saw one Brother, and then I saw multiple.
Yeah. And we saw the Oscar expert brothers in person, which was another brother.
Where I waited in line with one of them.
Good guys.
The brother, not the Oscar expert, the bro.
Yeah.
We were trying to see I Like Movies, and then we didn't get in because it was a microscopic theater.
Yeah.
And then we were like, wait, is that Finn Wolfhard? And we were just chilling, talking to someone across the hallway.
Yeah.
And then that was like a day later. You hung out with Finn.
Well, I wouldn't.
The rest is history.
I wouldn't say hung out, but I made his day.
Numbers.
Say that.
You exchange phone numbers, presumably.
We're buddies now.
So whenever you have you're buddies, you're best friends.
Yeah.
Yeah, Karsten has been telling me he's trying to edge me out of the podcast to start it with Finn.
Yep.
I'm gonna be replaced.
Yep. Like I got a new one with Finn now, so.
Yeah. It's called the Finn cast.
Wolfquist. I don't know.
The Finn cast sounds like it's about fishing or something.
What would you give this movie out of 5?
4 stars. I did in fact give it 4.
Yep. I would give it 4 as well. So that's that. We'll move on to questions.
That's that. Questions.
We got.
I'm excited for these.
Yeah, we got one from a patron today, and it is. Do we actually have 2? No, I think it's just 1. I think. I don't know how to do. Some of them are in different currencies, and I don't know how to do the conversion. I'm like, maybe that's $15.
Well, which currency is it?
I'm gonna. Oh my god, I'm like blanking on which one.
Is it Australian dollars?
Wait. No, it's the UK pounds. It's pounds.
Oh, so pound is actually almost parity with the dollar right now. It was actually a huge controversy in global, it's like geopolitical stuff.
Yeah.
Where their prime minister is not good.
Yeah.
We're not fan. Okay, I'm just going to say personally, I'm not a fan of Liz Truss.
Yeah. Let it be known.
Back to the Karstcast movie cast. Where we love movies and don't talk about anything else.
we stay out of politics.
We stay out of politics.
This one comes from Crow2X, $15 patron, and it is: have you ever gotten chills from a movie?
Yes.
Yeah.
I have. I'm gonna try to think of which one I'm gonna say for this, but absolutely the answer is yes. Karsten, do you know off the top of your head one you've gotten chills from?
Let's see. Bros. I mean, I don't know.
Which scene specifically in Bros gave you chills?
The scene where he's on testosterone and then it reacts badly. I'm going off the top of my head here.
I will say that I am a massive fan of Robin Williams' dramatic roles.
Yes.
So, for instance, a couple films that I've gotten chills from were Dead Poet Society.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Which I don't know if you've seen yet.
Still haven't seen it. I know
it's like one of my absolutely like it locked into my like top 20 movies of all time.
Yeah. It's one of the biggest movies I haven't seen, I think. Like,
yeah. Yeah. Good Morning Vietnam is also a very interesting watch. But yeah, do you have off the top of your head a film that's given you chills?
So recently, you're gonna disagree pretty hardcore with this, but I rewatched Raw because it's how it's October.
Are you sure are you sure it was chills and not like some kind of gag reflex?
The scene where she, spoiler alert, eats her sister's finger, fully chills across my entire body. Pretty crazy scene. That with the music that drops with it, I'm just like, whoa, that's big.
I think you're misunderstanding the question. I don't think that those are the kinds of chills this person was asking about.
You know what? We're gonna go with that as my answer though. It was
that's fine. You know what? I don't want to be the like arbiter of what is acceptable to have chills. So your answer is valid.
Right. Thank you, Jeff. I will say something that's probably gonna come off pretty shocking.
Your hair also looks tremendous right now.
See, okay. A sidetrack here to respond to that. My hair has been awful recently, and right now it looks decent. But for a majority of this podcast, I've been looking at my camera and I've been like, Jesus fucking,
no,
terrible.
No, like the height you have, like with like the sides are not too bushy.
Yeah,
the height's good. The sides are almost too bushy, but they're not.
Yeah, I will say I finally found a leave-in conditioner that works really well for me. It is Kevin Murphy leave-in. I think that's what it's called. It's a little bit on the pricey side, which is why I refrained from getting it for a long time. But if you are looking for a good leave-in conditioner, you should get the Kevin Murphy one, the one that's light blue.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Every time you kept saying that, I kept thinking of the Patron leave-in. Oh. I'm like, wow, you're really obsessed with leave-in's conditioner.
Yeah. Leave-in's conditioner. Anyway, yeah. Maybe I'll do like a skincare routine and hair routine video at some point in my life. That'd be fun.
On your main channel.
On the main channel. This next one comes from the subreddit, and I closed the tab apparently. I meant to keep it open. Damn. Where is it? We have a lot of good stuff on the subreddit. I'll just say that. Oh, this one comes from 10 Billion. Who is also a patron, actually. And it is, would you rather live in a windmill or a lighthouse?
This is a surprisingly good question.
It's a really, like, both are not good in their own ways, but are kind of idyllic in some ways, because it's like, everyone's like, I wish I lived in a lighthouse or a windmill. But I don't know.
Now, one thing to note is that windmill, for everyone else listening, is not the same as a wind turbine.
Yeah.
Windmill is like the thing in the Netherlands that, like spins like a thing to do something. I don't know what a windmill does. Does it like churn up grain or something?
I think so. They're kind of mysterious, and like you don't see windmills that often. I'll be honest.
Yeah. You know what, though? I think the answer for me is a windmill.
Yeah. Because
a lighthouse, you're like obligated to be the keeper of it because it affects all these ships.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And this is assuming that you have to do the duties of the thing you pick.
Yeah. Right.
Because obviously I would pick a lighthouse if you didn't have to like man the lighthouse.
Yeah.
Because it's just like larger physically, so there's more space. But I don't want to have to be like in charge of all these ships not crashing into rocks.
Right. Now, I'm looking at a lot of Well, actually, maybe not. I'm looking at pictures of windmills right now, and a lot of them, which this doesn't make sense. They're, I don't know how else to say it. They're propellers, the arms, the big thing that spins around.
The technical term is spinny thing.
Spinny thing, yeah. It comes down right by the door. So I'm like, you could just leave your house one day and just get fucking smacked in the head by this thing.
Yeah.
Which
that's the mini golf way of dying.
Right. I do think just also based on conditions that a windmill's surroundings are a lot tamer than those of a lighthouse. Because I think lighthouses exist mostly because they're in kind of treacherous areas sometimes, not all the time, but it's, I don't know. It just, being next to the sea can be a bit hazardous. And I say as you who live by the sea.
Yeah. We should make a film that's like The Lighthouse, but it takes place in a windmill.
The windmill. And the two guys are me and you, and we go crazy. And people are like,
you go crazy because you keep getting hit by the thing when you try to leave. You're like, who put this here?
We go crazy because we're trying to do a podcast, but the connection's really bad in the windmill. Anyway, that's a great question. I think we both fell on windmill though.
Well, lighthouse, if you don't have to do the duties of the lighthouse, is what I would say. But assuming you do, then a windmill.
This next one comes from Caroline0117, and it is, what are your favorite podcasts right now, other than the Karstcast, because that's obviously number one. Smiley face. Thank you.
Thank you.
Let's see.
That unless they were implying that we would pick the Karstcast, because that would be very vain of us. Right.
Which that would be crazy if we did that.
I mean, it's true. It's true. We both listen to this podcast nonstop. Like, it's actually playing in my ears right now.
We listen to all the Patreon.
Well, actually, you know what, though?
That's how
technically it is playing in my ears right now. I just realized. Yeah. This is the podcast.
Well, that's the joke I thought you were making. I'm like, yeah, we do technically.
No, I'm not that smart to have come up with that joke.
I'm like, we're at all the Zoom Hangouts. We're at all the patrons.
We never miss an episode.
We never miss, and we listen to the whole episode every time.
I've actually missed an episode, a couple of them.
Yeah, you have. I'm the real dedicated guy. Yeah.
Yeah. But to answer the question properly,
yes.
I've said this, probably over a year ago at this point, but the Memory Palace is a tremendous American history podcast.
Yep.
So I'll stick with that and think of, maybe something else while you say your favorite.
I'm not in a big podcast mood right now. I don't have a lot of go-tos, but one that I did get really into a little bit ago was the Lecture Hall podcast by Dylan Jalula and Brody Gupta. I think that's her name. It's very funny. I think you have to become a patron to listen to it, which was kind of a gamble on my. I was like, okay, so I'm paying for a thing I've never listened to, but I like both of their tweets a lot. I think they're very funny people, so I was like, I'm sure this will be great, and it is very funny, and I like to listen to it while I play GeoGuessr, and that's.
Oh, that actually sounds kind of nice.
It's very nice. Yeah, that's when I listen to podcasts. Is just like on
chilling.
Just very low key. But it's like, I don't know. I'm not a big podcast guy recently. Kind of fell out of a lot of them.
Yeah.
Do
you think that we could do that model where you have to be a patron to listen to the podcast?
That would be
crazy.
It would be crazy.
We're not going to do
It's
that.
a bold choice. I get it. Also, they're extra bold because their podcasts, you can literally hear the Zoom sound at the beginning of all of them. They just directly upload from Zoom, which is how our Patreon episodes are. But I'm like, to make that I'm like, I guess that's bold. And you know what? They're so funny that it doesn't even matter. That's the attitude.
Also, the Daily. I like the Daily.
The Daily's good.
Great, contemporary. Yeah. Like when you're just trying to get on top of the current events.
Yep.
It's a really well researched and impartial.
Yes.
Look at what's happening in the world.
Yeah. Also, if you're looking for a good film podcast, my go-to is Kermode.
Is the Karstcast movie cast.
No. that's not even my go-to. I like Kermode and Mayo's Take. They are like us, but like 50 years older. And
if you want to go... sorry, you probably weren't done.
No, that's it.
That's
it.
Podcast, so I want to. Oh, that's it. Okay.
They're very good at talking about movies, and good critics.
And if you want someone that's like closer to our age, but is a little bit more specific with how they talk about films, the Intercut Podcast.
They do have a very good podcast. Yeah, good.
Yeah,
good podcast.
they're kind of like us, but like double or triple as serious.
Yeah.
Of how they talk about films.
Yeah. And that's about it. Just a couple pod recommendations. This last one, because we'll do one more, is
one more.
Roller Skate Butterfly asks favorite meme format. I don't know. I mean, it seems cringy to like talk about a meme format that we like. Like it always trying to like talk about memes seriously never goes right. It always
like trying to analyze memes.
Yeah, it always
academic
falls on its
format.
face. Yeah. Trying to think of one that I've been liking though. I don't really like register what I'm consuming as far as memes.
Yeah, one that's just a very specific meme. It's not a format, so it's not answering the question at all. That was really funny to me that I remember from a couple months ago was Virtual, who's this Norwegian Trackmania streamer.
Yeah.
He does all these videos on YouTube that are these kind of like world record, videos about Trackmania tracks. And there was this guy, Hefest, who in the old Trackmania game was like the best player in the world. So he had like all the records. And his thing was always like, and then Hefest got this run, is how he would always like before showing like, the final record.
Yeah.
And there was a video that was some PSA where this guy is driving and his car flips and like rolls over kids. It was just like the most ridiculous thing you put like, and then Hefest got this run. There's this guy going out of control in his car flipping and crushing a bunch of children. I'll have to send you the video. It's pretty funny.
That is like not what I expected from this question. That's so funny that was your answer. Yeah, please do send me that video because that sounds really funny. Yeah, I think I'm gonna just call that the answer. Have Jeff do that one, and we'll wrap things up then. We would like to start by announcing next week's film, which I don't think we've really talked about it, and I have no idea what we would talk about.
We'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out and keep you guys updated. But next,
or we'll forget to update you, and you'll just
listen
see
to
when
it,
it comes
whatever,
out.
whatever it is. Next, we like to read a review. Hopefully, there's some new reviews here, and there is. It looks like we like to read a review because we like to hear what you guys have to say about the podcast.
And it fills space.
And it definitely fills space. And yeah.
But also we like hearing it.
This one comes from Michael Rennie of Great Britain. 5 stars. Subject line, amazing podcast. And it reads, I've been a fan of the pod since day one and still look forward to a new episode every week. Listening to Karsten and Jeff talk about everything but movies never fails to put a smile on my face. From travel to food and from Space Jam to the worst person in the world. It's always fun, lighthearted, and an all-around good time. Keep it up, guys. Hey.
Thank you.
We appreciate that.
You get us.
You keep this movie podcast where we barely talk about movies on the movie and TV charts on these listening platforms, and that's what matters.
We should try to change what it's like listed as.
Yeah,
to something
yeah.
that's a lot less competitive, so we can be like the number one, like
religious podcast.
Yeah, like Jewish podcast.
Yeah. These guys barely talk about it, but
we just start every episode like shalom,
and then never do anything about
I just have a Star of David like on the wall behind me.
The next part of the podcast is thanking the patrons over at patreon.com/Karstcast. The best place to go if you would like to support the podcast. If you're like Michael Rennie and you just can't get enough and really like us. You also get exclusive bonus episodes, Q&As, shout-outs at the end of every episode. We're a little late this month on the Zoom Hangout and the bonus episode, mostly because Jeff had to evacuate the state of Florida.
Yeah.
And I hope you guys understand.
Because we were going to even record... Yeah, we were going to record this, but then we ended up leaving even a day earlier.
Yeah. It's... things happen, and I hope you guys understand. You're still getting these perks from September, though.
We are going to get you them.
Yes.
Normally, our excuses for not recording are that we just forgot or something. This is the first time it's like a legitimate excuse.
Yeah. And it's a pretty good one. I'll say that. I feel like if I were a listener, I'd be like, guys, no problem.
No problem.
But
anyways, you want to read those names?
Yeah, here are some of those guys. Thank you. Alex Thomas, Anson Contreras, Belly, Big Beard Pirate, Boinks, Camilla, Coop, David Borslow, David Sir, Eden, Finn Richardson, Jacob Meyer, Jared Armstrong, John Van Hout, Joshua Hughes, KDT, Kelly J. Smith, let's change the Google search results for PTA, Levin, thank you for talking about therapy, Liv Rob, Louis A.O., Luke Warm, Maddie Robertson, Martin Deff, Mary Lee Borslow, Meridian, Michael Rennie, Monroe Page, and Noah Wooten, Owen Felton, Queen of Staten Island, Rakakuni, Riley Ost, Ryan M., Sean Kenny loves God Save the Animals. It is a very good album. Stella Perry, Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious, Smitty Werman, Jagerman Jensen, Taylor Smileyface, Vegard Strom, Wes Kinley, Wiley Todd, Yusef A., and Zoe Hernandez McDonald.
Now, that was a good point the person in the patron names had. We didn't talk about the full release of the album.
We've been kind of talking about all the singles, so we really should have touched on the album.
Yeah. So, real quick, how do you feel about the album?
I really like it. It is very...
Yeah, it's good.
It's funny because the singles leading up to it made me feel like, oh, this is going to be very polished and kind of more accessible than his other work.
Yeah,
and then some of the songs are so weird. And it's great. Honestly, I love it. Some of them I'm not that crazy about, but his music, I'm probably going to just grow on them or they'll grow on me.
It works if you listen to it as a full album, but if you're just pulling songs out for a playlist, I would say there's really probably about 5 that would be playlist type songs.
Yep. Mission. That's a really good song.
That's a good one. That's a playlist song.
That's a playlist song. Certified playlist banger.
Certified by the Karstcast Movie Cast.
Anything else to say?
Means nothing.
Jeff. Anything else?
I will catch you on the flip side, Karsten Runquist.
I'll catch you there as well. Flip side.